Oh man, we are literally 1 week away from the grandest stage of them all, the biggest show in all sports entertainment, WrestleMania. Yeah, it is, believe it or not. Even if it's long as shit, god damn it, it's still la creme de la creme. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another installment of Teamheel Podcast Extra here on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/HeelSteve. And thank you all for watching, listening, tuning in. As always, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. Give this miniature podcast, if you will, extra that we do for you guys, a big old thumbs up and share it through our entire social media. This is also another installment of our WrestleMania Retro review. Thank you all again. And as always, guys, I am the Dork Slayer himself. It's Steve, and I'm here joined by the usual crew here. I'm here joined all the way from the mean streets of Bridgeport, Connecticut. They call him the Queen Slayer. That's KWEEN. Mr. I just fucked your girl. Mr. Your baby mama just gave me her tax return, and I liked it. The one, the only, Walter. How you been, bruh?
Shit, I wish that last part was true, but you know, I've been hanging in there. You know, Mania's next week, pretty much, and can't say that I'm not excited. So,
oh man, we're gonna get high shit that day. But you know, it's funny. I was about to add one more thing to that intro, but I was about to say, Mr. Your baby mama just called me the real baby daddy, but it's a good thing they didn't say. No, not
good
not,
thing.
Good thing. All right. And we're also joined here from the mean streets, all the way in Detroit, Michigan. He's the man with the golden charm here. All the ladies just cannot resist. The one, the only, Big Mike. Big Mike. How you been, bruh?
I've been all right. You know, can't wait to talk about this Mania.
Oh,
We're gonna watch a March Madness, all this ridiculousness.
Oh, indeed it is, bro.
Team sucks. They have no heart.
No heart.
Is that who they're playing right now?
Who?
Is that the game I'm watching right now? Texas Tech and Michigan.
Yeah, fucking Michigan.
Damn.
I'll stop watching. They getting blown out by 20. I'll stop watching.
Okay, guys. So we're back again, and here we are with another installment of the WrestleMania review. So you guys remember this past weeks, we've got a couple of weeks leading up to WrestleMania. We were going to be reviewing retro WrestleManias from the past, and we had our journey. If we started off with WrestleMania 11, then went to WrestleMania 23. I know WrestleMania 11 was torture. It really, really was. Then went to WrestleMania 23, which was Mike's personal favorite. WrestleMania 11 was Walter's personal favorite. And then from there, we went on to WrestleMania.
11 was my personal favorite.
Connecticut. It was in Connecticut, bro. Yo, hood. Yo, hood, my nigga. Come on.
I don't know who said to Google WrestleMania 11. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I was wondering that was going to go over your head. I was like, oh, shit.
Whoa. I was not going to let you just slide that in.
Wasn't that in Stamford, Connecticut?
Just because one of the the best linebacker of all time was in it, don't mean that's the best WrestleMania.
Right. What was the arena again? I forgot. Yo. What was that?
Man, it wasn't even called the XL Center at the time. It was Hartford.
The Hartford Civic Center. There you go.
Civic Center, yeah.
That's around the point. So we went from 11, then we went to 23, we then went to 17 last week, which again got a lot of good feedback. And now here we are, Mike, because you are the man behind the list. What are we reviewing this week for all these crazy sick mother flowers and these dorks as well?
WrestleMania 20 from Madison Square Garden, where it all begins again.
It's where it all begins again. WrestleMania 20, the show took place on March 14th, 2004. The attendance was 18,500. The event generated an estimated 13.5 million of economic activity for New York City and created an equivalent of 96 full-year jobs. And you gotta think about this, right? I feel like, it was only fitting that we did WrestleMania 20. Can you think about this, right? During our Royal Rumble retro review that we did for Rumble and all that, we did review the Royal Rumble 1990, that too, but Royal Rumble 2004. So I feel like it was only fitting that we did a recap the WrestleMania 20. because again, it was all but 2004, right? I feel like it was only fitting. So I feel like for next week, I think it's fitting because again, we did recap Rumble 94. That we do recap WrestleMania 10. So we're ending the whole thing. We're going out with a bang with the with the WrestleMania retro reviews next week with WrestleMania 10. Next week, the week of WrestleMania. Oh my goodness!
Not 29. Thank
not
God. 29.
No, we took an audible. We took an audible, and we're going to be recapping WrestleMania 10 instead. It's also still in New York as well, but so much stuff to get into again with this event. So much to happen next week as well. And again, guys, sit back, relax. Again, WrestleMania week is almost coming up real close, and we're going to be high as shit that weekend in New York. But anywho, guys, I said this to you guys off the air, and I think I think we can all agree across the board here. I'm not really sure how you guys listening at home, what have it would be on your computer, your tablet, your phone, on the road driving, because people actually do listen to the show while they're driving, believe it or not. I will say WrestleMania 20, the matches as themselves, again, looking back on it, when I was a kid, I thought it was a great show. As a kid. Keep this in mind, I was like, 14 years old when this show happened? Right? I was 14 years old when the show took place. I thought overall, oh my God, it was a great show, right? And I watched it back today, and I gotta say, because all that happened years after, this has to be one of the most saddest WrestleManias I've ever seen. Not because, oh my God, it was a bad show, but because of the events that happened later on. Can we all agree on that across the board here, across the table here, gentlemen?
Sorta, kinda. I was 9 years old when this happened, and this was the first actual pay-per-view that my father ordered for me. So yeah, I thought it was hot shit back in the day too. But yeah, it's sort of sad, but not really, you know, because I see the way that you can't talk about it on television.
You really can't. I mean, you do, but certain matches you can't talk about the whole show as a whole. Walter, what about you, man? I mean, how old were you when this show took place, and what is your overall recollection about the show when you watched it when you were young, as to you watching it, I guess, on the network this week leading up to this retro review?
Yeah, I'm trying to think how old I was. I'm pretty sure. So 15 years ago, right? I'm pretty sure I was like 9. Yeah, I was probably 9. 9 or 8. Either way, I was really young. So at the time, I'm like, you know, I'm just enjoying wrestling in general. Like, I'm not nitpicking, anything like that. You know, so this show was, you know, from a casual standpoint, really good. I really enjoyed it. Didn't even realize how long it was, but you watch it years later, it's a little different. Not saying the show sucked years later after watching it when you're older, but it's like, yeah. I mean, I guess you could say sad. I just found it just weird, you know. I felt like it was just a weird show to look back at.
Okay, fair enough. And I will give you that too. It did feel weird, sad, looking back on it years later as you get older. Mm-hmm. And I want to ask you guys listening right now, again, however it may be, whether you're listening on your computer, whether you're, again, driving to work, school, whether it be you going to the gym, whatever, however you listen to the show right now, to this podcast extra that's on youtube.com. What is your overall memory or your overall thoughts when you watched it first, depending how old you were 15 years ago, to, I guess, if you're one of these folks, I know there's a lot of folks that when it comes to WrestleMania season, not just Mania season, but say it's Rumble season or Survivor Series season or SummerSlam, like the big ones, right? The big 5, if you will, or big 4, however the fuck you want to consider it, right? For WWE with these pay-per-view events, a lot of them going into the current one, they'll go back and watch retro events, right? And there's some people that, again, will go back and rewatch WrestleMania 20, what have you. So I ask you guys, what is your thoughts overall on the show when you first watched it to what it is 15 years later? I would love to hear you guys' thoughts, whether it be in the comment threads or if not on Twitter at Teamheel Podcast. And let us know, guys. Chime in, give us your overall thoughts. Anyway, guys, let's begin with the show, guys. Let's begin with the the festivities, if you will, because again, why the fuck not? The show kicked off with the rendition of "America the Beautiful" by the Harlem Boys Choir, which I thought was very good, very well done. Right, got everyone in the right mood. They showed pictures of the troops and when WWE went over to Iraq for tribute to the troops and stuff like that, which again was very well done. It was very, again, WrestleMania like. Again, when you think of WrestleMania, these big events, you gotta start off with "America the Beautiful" or the national anthem, whatever it may be. So that was very well done. And then we get to the intro, WrestleMania 20. It's Vince McMahon, and it's like, you know, where it all began and all that stuff. And at the end of it, right at the end, you see the next generation of McMahon. It's Vince McMahon, his son Shane, and Shane's firstborn child.
Right. So
it's like,
his oldest son.
Yeah, his oldest. It's like, yep, where it all begins again. Like, yep, the next generation of McMahon, literally in front of you. You gotta believe that kid's gonna one day take over the company years to come.
You know what? To really think about it, those kids don't look like they give a shit about what's going on, even though they events.
I mean, they're kids though, man. Come on, like, they're kids. Like, I get real about it. If you were a kid, if you were their age, would you be giving a fuck? Hell no. You're like, holy goddamn. You know, I get to go to these shows for free. I don't gotta pay anything. What, my grandfather runs this company? I don't gotta pay shit. That's what I would think.
You gotta freaking think about it, man. These kids, freaking
spoiled brats, yo.
Like when their grandmother was a part of the cabinet of our president, they were in the picture. They just look like, you know, any old, you know, rich kid, you know. And it's like, whatever. Them kids don't give a fuck.
Well, you gotta understand, bro. They're kids. When you're a child, dude, you don't give a fuck, really. You just, your mind is just innocent. You'll do whatever you want to do. Just again, in your eyes, it's part of the process, I think. That's how I feel. I don't know about you guys. Like, Walter, what do you think about that? Do you think when you're that age, I mean, not giving a fuck will be normal, or?
Yeah, I mean, they're little kids, you know. What are they gonna? You know, I think they should just embrace it. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, why not? You know, your son's a famous family, and it's like, I don't know. Well, why would you have a different mindset? You know?
Exactly. I said exactly, pal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how every billionaire's families are, right? Their kids are just, of course, they're gonna be spoiled.
Absolutely, man. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being spoiled. That's what I always say. So good on them.
Some of us live hard. Some of us live a little easy.
Exactly. We're not talking G-Eazy either. We're not talking G-Eazy. All right. So,
no.
Or a little baby. Anyway. We start off with that. It's WrestleMania, SmackDown versus Raw, and there's like literally, guys, 12 matches on this card. They managed to put 12 matches in 4 hours. Goddamn. I mean, by the way, too, you look back on this show, it was a long show.
No, they went over. They went over 4 hours.
4 hours and 30 minutes and 24 seconds. Granted, there's longer shows than now.
Oh yeah.
Like these past couple of minutes would make this mania feel like paradise almost, but that's around the point. Anyway, we start the show off with the U.S. title match. It's John Cena versus The Big Show. The Big Show was walking in there as the U.S. champion, and I thought overall it was a very good way to kick off the show. John Cena was a star on the rise, obviously, right? Let's be real about that. And this was at a time where people were fans of Cena. Let's be real about it. At this time, everyone was part of the Chain Gang, right? You look back, look at today, right? People boo Cena or John Cena sucks and shit like that. Granted, I think people now, because you don't see Cena every single time, right? You don't see Cena every single week now. People, I feel like, are starting to appreciate John Cena whenever he shows up. Am I wrong on that?
For sure, dude, man. Like, I'm itching for Cena this year.
What happened?
I said I'm itching for Cena this year.
But you get the idea, though, right? Like, hey, he's not on TV every single week. It's like now you appreciate when he's there. He's like, please come back. Don't leave and shit like that. Especially now with the rumors of Baron Corbin and Kurt Angle. But that's around the point. This match went about 7 minutes, 51 seconds. John Cena came out to wear a throwback jersey. New York Knicks, throwback Pat Ewing. The match, it was a solid match. I'm not going to go, oh my God, this was a crazy back and forth match. Anything like that. The end of the match, it's Cena grabbing the chain. Remember, at the time he wore a chain with a little padlock, right, or a fucking lock as his jewelry, right? And he's, I guess, ready to hit Big Show with it. And the referee, he grabbed the chain off of Cena's hand. But Cena at the same time also had brass knucks that he whacked the Big Show with while the referee was turning around trying to get the chain. It hit the FU, not the AA, but the FU for the 1, 2, 3, and Cena became the new U.S. champion. So again, you're showcasing your star of the future, and this was Cena on the rise. What was your guys' thoughts on this match? Walter, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty nice way to start Mania, with the up-and-comer John Cena. He was getting over. And, I think WWE, I like how they slowly, acknowledge, yes, eventually we want this guy, in the main event. But for now, this is a nice program to have with Big Show, U.S. title. The match itself, from an in-ring perspective, yeah, it's not the best, but I think it told, the story told a nice story, because John Cena, he didn't have to do, he did something, but it's like, you didn't have to do a freaking 5-star classic with the Big Show. No one is expecting that. But the fact that, he couldn't beat him with the first FU, you're like, oh, damn, is Cena really not going to win? So back then, it was like, damn, what's he going to do next? Of course, he did some dirty tactics, but the crowd loved it, so it didn't matter. And like I said, I think that was the right way to start the show.
Agree. What about you, Big Mike? Your thoughts on this opening match for WrestleMania 20?
Oh, yeah. Friggin' Cena getting a Cena chant. Even he couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It has gotten like that over the years, to the point where it's like refreshing to hear a majority of the crowd saying Cena's name. And yeah, man, just the match was decent, straight to the point. 1 FU, don't do it. Gotta probably cheat to win, and he did it. No lock and padlock, just the knuckles. So. Yeah, it was straight up match.
Exactly. Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. And guys, give it your thoughts on Cena versus the Big Show for the United States Championship at WrestleMania 20. Yeah. And again, it was a good way to kick off the show. People were into it. But to me, looking back on it now, it just felt like a very solid match. Nothing to go crazy for other than the ending of the match. But yeah, you guys could tell this was this was your next big star. This was your next big star on the rise, if you will.
Yeah, a year later, man, he won the WWE Championship.
Yeah, they knew it. They saw it coming. They're like, yeah, let's open the show with him, and we're going to eventually push him a year later, literally. Yeah,
they did. After this, we had the Fatal 4-Way for the World Tag Team Champions. This is the Raw match, by the way, because both Raw's Tag Team titles and SmackDown Tag titles were both consistent in Fatal 4-Ways, by the way. So, do the first one. They had Booker T and Rob Van Dam talk about a random tag team put together, right? And they defended the titles against the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray and Devon, and the team of Garrison Cade, who was Lance Cade, may he rest in peace, and Mark Jindrak. And La Resistance of Rene Dupree and Rob Conway. This match really wasn't that. It was okay. Nothing to brag about. It was more like the calm down match. Again, you think about WrestleMania, and honestly, I'll say this: I'm not really a fan of multi-person matches at a WrestleMania. I just feel like it's lazy booking. It's basically okay. we have nothing for you for WrestleMania, so what we're gonna do is put you instead in this fucking big ass multi-person match. Basically, that's the vibe I got from this. And again, nothing bad or anything. I feel like every person there got their moments in, if you will, when they needed to. But when it was all said and done, Rob Van Dam, Booker T got the win, and they retained their tag titles. Big Mike, give me your thoughts on this match. Chat me up.
Yeah, the multi-person tag matches on this card wasn't, my cup of tea either. It was Booker T, RVD champions, and who were the opponents?
I just said it, bro. Come on. It was the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray and Devon.
Dudley Boys, okay, all right. Dudley Boys, this was my favorite attire from the Dudley Boys out of all the years they were in WWE. Bubba Ray with the shorts, the yellow camouflage with the sort of, the jersey type on Bubba. This is my favorite incarnation of the Dudley Boys. And, the match was there. It is what it is. The Booker T music, I hated it. And,
well, you gotta remember, at the time, they were promoting an album, so it's like,
yeah, but I hated that music.
I hear you. I feel you, man. Walter, what about you, brother? What were your thoughts overall on this match, looking back on it years later?
I mean, it was, I don't want to say clusterfuck, but it was just, there. There was nothing too exciting. I mean, it's nice to see the Dudley Boys. Act like they're coming back or something, but it was nice to see them still around. Never was really a big fan of La Resistance, and Kane and Ginger. It's just a random ass tag team in itself. So was Booker and RVD, but you needed to get them on the card. I get it, but I don't like what you. I don't like. I'm not really the biggest fan of multi-man matches at Mania, but I guess you got to get people on the card. So
exactly.
And also to add, La Resistance is probably one of my favorite tag teams, that really didn't really go anywhere. They held the tag titles, but, they really didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, they barely lasted. It's crazy how Rene Dupree was the youngest to win an actual title in WWE. Before,
he was 22?
Before what was the Braun Strowman's partner? He became the youngest. He broke Rene Dupree's record.
Fucking 10 years old, man.
Dupree can't have that record now. So
what was he, like 21 back then?
Dude, but the fact that he competed at 19 years old, that's
19. Jesus. Yeah. Wow.
Dupree he was 20 at WrestleMania 20, I believe.
But when he debuted, he was 19.
He was 19.
Yeah.
Wow.
He had a break. I mean, they never really did much after that with him. So,
I mean, he was the U.S. champion. He did have that feud with Cena after WrestleMania. So
he was the U.S. champion.
Yeah, he was actually.
Oh crap!
Either he wasn't. Either he was, or he worked a program with Cena for the U.S. title.
Yeah, I remember him working with Cena. I don't think he ever won the title though.
We'll look back on that. In later reviews and shit. So after this, we had Christian versus Chris Jericho. The story here is, hey, Jericho caught feelings for Trish Stratus, and Christian was the jealous guy because he was basically the guy trying to cockblock. He didn't really think that Trish had the same feelings for Jericho, and Jericho was having these feelings for dumb reasons. And it all started off a bet for a Canadian dollar, which I remember. I remember they had a love angle with them, and looking back on it now as I get older, but the match itself was pretty good. I'll give you that. It went about 15 minutes and 3 minutes. 15 minutes and 3 seconds, I'm sorry. And one thing I'll say, these two guys had very good chemistry. They had very good chemistry. And at the same time, Trish got ringside, or she came out for the match, and I guess she unintentionally slapped Jericho at the end and helped Christian get the win. And at the end of it all, it shocked everyone because guess what? Trish turns on Jericho. And the kiss heard around the world at that time where Christian kissed Trish, and they, I guess, became a couple on TV and shit like that. And Yeah, I thought it made sense. 'Cause at the same time, it elevated Christian a little bit as a heel, and I thought that was pretty good. So, Mike, what are your thoughts on this match overall between Jericho and Christian, and the ending of what Trish made out with Christian in the middle of the ring?
Dude, man, when I was a kid, when she kissed fucking Christian, that shit pissed me off. Yeah, that pissed me off at the time because I was a really good fan of Chris Jericho, and the match was pretty decent. You know, those guys do have chemistry. The freaking back body drop on the outside that Jericho did to Christian, he got way up there. That was a sick bump that he did for no reason. And yeah, so it was decent, and the turn was executed perfectly. You know, she elbowed him. Thought that that Jericho was Christian, and he lost the match with a roll up. So yeah, they executed that, and I think shortly afterward, Tomko came into the picture, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. Yeah, later on, he became part of Christian's coalition, or
Yeah. Was he just Tomko, or was he Tyson Tomko?
Tyson Tomko.
I
I guarantee that in today's wrestling, though, if he was around WWE today, he'd be just Tomko. But you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. I thought he was just regular Tomko in TNA.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on here. But Walter, what about you, though, bro? What about you?
Yeah, with this match, I actually liked it. It's a nice mid-card match. With storyline, obviously, is kind of cheesy, especially nowadays. If we're older, you would think, damn, this is a stupid storyline. But, you know, it involved Trish Stratus, so it was all right. And, you know, and it was perfect to get Christian heel heat like that, you know, like this whole time, damn, Trish was with him. And, you know, now you want Jericho to get his revenge, so, which I think happened in the next pay-per-view. But, you know, overall, I thought this was a pretty nice middle of the match card.
Yeah, exactly. After this, we get Evolution, Batista, Randy Orton, and Ric Flair versus the Rock and Sock Connection of Mick Foley and the Return of the Rock. So before the match even happened, they did a promo, I guess, in the stairway area, where I guess a month prior to this, Orton kicked Foley in the head, where Foley rolled down. He cut a promo about that. They referenced when Foley walked out, when Foley came back and Orton spit in his face and stuff like that, which made The Rock come back. And I guess on the Go Home show, Raw, prior to the event, Evolutions, again, Orton, Flair, and Batista attacked the Rock and Sock Connection. And overall, I think, looking back on it, then Rock's fire promo backstage in Madison Square Garden and stuff like that was pretty good too. But I think, again, this Rock being in this match kind of elevated a little bit. Was it the best match from Rock? Absolutely not, by no means at all. But people at that time still popped for Rock, even though this was at a time where Rock was going into the Hollywood role, like full time, right? Yeah. At a time where people in Hollywood telling him to ignore wrestling, to leave it behind him and shit. And again, you know, even though I think he did the Tonight Show or something like that prior to this event, where he didn't even promote WrestleMania at all. Keep that in mind. But the match, for what it was, the moments that I thought were good, when Rock got in there, he literally squared off with Ric Flair. He had a young Randy Orton. Keep that in mind. Remind you, goddamn, how young he was back then. Look at him now, right?
He's
two
super
different.
young.
Exactly. He's like, goddamn, yo, how I'm getting old. I think we all grew up almost with Randy Orton. If you get what I mean with that?
Oh yeah, I remember his debut.
Like, we all grew up watching Orton, basically. In my opinion, ballot Hall of Famer down the road. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. He's a ballot Hall of Famer. That being said, just again, I remember too, Ric Flair tried to do the people's elbow in this match too. Batista looked like he was off a little bit. That's just me, of course. Rock then I got popped up and did the people's elbow, but then also mocked the strut that Flair did as well. There was one spot where Orton threw Foley into the ring steps, and Foley took this bump off his knees, but it was fucking ugh. You know what I mean? Again, at that time, Foley hadn't wrestled in 4 years. Remember that too. So it's like, god damn, yo. God damn it. But it was all said and done. It looked like the Rock and Socka were about to win. Foley pulled out Socko, ready to hit, Randy Orton with it, and then Orton hit the RKO from out of nowhere, to which I guess the fall 1, 2, 3, and I guess Foley thought it was only a 2 count. You can say it was botched, but I don't really think so. But again, nothing to go crazy for. Not one of the most memorable Rock matches, if you will. But it did a lot of good for Orton in the long run. Mike, what do you thought about this match, bro? Overall.
Yeah, friggin' Randy Orton, young Intercontinental Champion Randy Orton. Batista was really sort of there, he really wasn't on his A game in this match. Flair was over like a mofo in New York. Yeah, in the Rock, his I think he was shooting Walking Tall at the time. They were saying that on commentary.
I think so, yeah.
Just an awful movie. And yeah, so that's pretty much all. This match was really long too. You guys get that from this?
Mm-hmm.
This match was long as a mug when I was watching it.
That match was ridiculously long. It was, I guess because, it was kind of like a tag match, handicap match. They were tagging in and out. But I guess, liked it for the most part. It wasn't a boring match.
No, it wasn't.
But it wasn't a boring match at all. Maybe it just went a little too long. I guess it was nice to see The Rock wrestle and McFoley again as well. Because it was Rock's final Mania pretty much until what?
28.
Well, he was in 27, but he didn't wrestle, right?
Yeah, but
So,
yeah,
he was 28.
10 years almost.
Yeah, he was the host, and so it was a long ass time, and we never thought he'd come back. So it's nice to see him, and I guess you got the right team over. You had to push Randy Orton; he was your future. So it was crazy seeing him that young. Yeah, indeed, he was like what 22.
Yeah, he had to be
around my age, probably. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. Absolutely, guys. But again, that was that, and I think after we all knew where Orton was going to go, he was the Intercontinental Champion. Months after, he won the world title, and again, it just showed you, not even at the time, Orton wasn't even in his prime yet. But you knew, again, just like Cena, there was a star for the future, if you will, at that time. Like I said. We then go from this to what I thought was probably one of the most entertaining things of the night. Again, talking to perverted me at that time, okay? The Playboy evening gown match was an interpromotional match, one of many that they had here in this event. You had Tori Wilson and Sable from SmackDown, who were in Playboy at one time or another. By the way, Tori Wilson was going into the Hall of Fame next weekend, depending how you want to view that, versus Raw's Miss Jackie and Stacy Keibler. Now, this match went about 2 minutes and 41 seconds. They all wore nightgowns. And I guess before the match even took place, Sable said that they feel more comfortable not wrestling with the nightgowns on. So both Tori and Sable took off their nightgowns. They're in bra and panties almost. And Stacy obliged as well, but Jackie wasn't having it. Miss Jackie, that is, right? Wasn't having it at all. And they basically, Tori and Sable basically took Jackie's dress off, and let's be real about it, it was tits and ass. And I guess this was at a time where I guess in today's wrestling, a lot of feminists out there, a lot of diehard dorks will be fucking upset with it. This is a mockery of women's wrestling, shit like that. We've come a long way. Look, going back now and shit. To think where they were then to now with the women headlining WrestleMania next Sunday. It's crazy, right? It's fucking insane. But again, this match, again, for what it was, I thought it was fun. If you will. That was my take on it. Obviously, Tori and Sable won, but really, who really gave a fuck? I think at the end, all the sick, twisted perverts perverts out there won in the heart, if you will. Walter, what are your thoughts on this overall? It shouldn't take long.
Yeah, just like the match, it was, I hopefully don't take long. I just want to say, it's nice to see matches like this. You won't see that nowadays because we're serious with women's wrestling now, so you can't see that anymore. But it's nice. Enjoyed it. I guess if you had a bathroom break, that's nice. Or if not, I guess a lot. Back then it was more adults watching wrestling, so it was good to actually see this once in a while. If you were an adult, I'd assume. Shit, as a little kid, I loved it. So,
Big Mike, what about you, brother?
Man, this shit got me riled up, man. Dude. This shit, man. Oh man, I felt like a freaking 9-year-old again watching this shit. Not just playing. I was just playing. It was, it is what it is, man. Freaking Tori Wilson, don't age, because she look like that right now, with more defined abs, if you would say that. Freaking she and Sable back then were like, I don't even know what word to even put it, Freaking, I guess she was like the next generation of what Sable's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be.
Was supposed to be, yeah, supposed to be. So I wish they did more with her, but obviously that didn't happen. But yeah, that's pretty much all you gotta say. I'm just babbling on about it now because there's really not much here to say.
Exactly. We had a backstage promo this early in the show where apparently Jonathan Coachman had to go find The Undertaker per Eric Bischoff. And he had to find The Undertaker, and he bumps into, I guess there was like a door. When he opened it, out came Gene Okerlund and Bobby Heenan, and I guess they were caught making out with Mae Young and Fabulous Moolah. It's crazy to think that all four of them are gone. They're no longer with us. Kind of crazy how they were all in one segment. It was fun for what it was, okay? Nostalgia, if you will. But there was that. We then go on to the Cruiserweight Open. The Cruiserweight Open for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship, 11 minutes and 31 seconds. Yeah, Chavo Guerrero, again, defeating Akio, Billy Kidman. Akio was Jimmy Wang Yang, by the way, years later. Billy Kidman, Funaki, Jamie Noble, Nunzio, Rey Mysterio, Shannon Moore, Tajiri, and Ultimo Dragon. So basically, the match where two guys start. If you get pinned, you're out of it, and then out come another guy. By the way, they're all at ringside, too. Okay? There's this one spot where Billy Kidman does a shooting star press from the outside, and it looked like he landed head first. They made it seem like, oh my God, he landed head first almost, right? And it turns out in the slow-mo, he doesn't. But there's that. And it basically, listen, it came down to Mysterio and Chavo, okay? And Chavo, with help of his father, Chavo Classic, got the win. He retained the Cruiserweight title, basically. So there was that. It is great to think at that time they had the Cruiserweight title on the main card. You would think that, hey, they would do the same thing here with the title in today's WWE, right? Usually now it's on the kickoff show and shit. How crazy things were back then. Simple, if you will. Mike, your thoughts on this match overall?
Yeah, well, first of all, rest in peace, Chavo Classic. So, Shannon Moore, this is like pre all the tattoos, huh? Basically. I haven't freaking Shannon Moore bare naked, freaking non-tattooed.
Pre-ink?
Yeah. And Ultimo Dragon was like one of my favorites as a kid. I loved Ultimo Dragon, so it was cool seeing him in a match at WrestleMania. And Tajiri, always loved Tajiri. And that's pretty much what I gotta say. It was just, a big cluster of action.
I believe it. I really, really believe that. Walter, what about you, brother?
Yeah, no, this was a big clusterfuck. I didn't understand the rules of the match at all. I mean, I know they all had it was kind of like a lumberjack match almost, but they didn't really act like lumberjack. They just waited their turn for every pinfall. So I'm like, this is such a weird match. So you knew all the pinfalls were going to come fast as fuck, because there's no way they're going to, like, make this match as long as hell. But, you know, they honestly, I don't know why they didn't just do a Ray versus Chavo. Just one-on-one match. I mean, yes, these other talents are nice and all. I guess you wanted to get every cruiser on the card, but could have just been a one-on-one. But at the same time, they probably didn't want Ray to lose that easily. So I understand it. You know, it was okay, I guess. I don't know what else to say. Just to get Ray on the card. That's all it was.
Exactly. Does get Ray on the card, pal.
Right? He had the fancier entrance and everything.
Yeah, came out looking like the Flash.
Yeah.
Even though Taz thought it was Spider-Man for some reason, but it really wasn't. Which I laughed, my bruh.
God, he's from New York. Oh my god.
And I'm like, nigga! What the fuck? What the fuck, bro?
That's stupid.
Oh, they're Stan Lee. I'm like, bro, you mean DC Comics? Like,
Oh my goodness.
I know. We then go from that to what I thought was obviously the shittiest match of the entire show, right? We're at the halfway point, guys. We're almost there. This was probably by a lot of people the worst match of WrestleMania 20. And you look back at WrestleMania 20, some of the bad stuff. You go back to this as well. You go back to this. Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar. This was built up since Survivor Series of 03. Right? When Goldberg interrupted Brock in his promo, and Goldberg at the time was the World Heavyweight Champion, right? Or something like that, right? And he then, I guess, got interrupted at the Rumble, to which led to Brock, I guess, getting involved in Goldberg's Rumble match and costing Goldberg the Royal Rumble, getting him eliminated early, to which then you had Steve Austin hand Goldberg a ticket to go to No Way Out 04, which was at the time was a SmackDown pay-per-view, and cost Brock Lesnar the WWE title to Eddie Guerrero, to which, again, you had Brock Lesnar begging for the match with Goldberg, to which Vince McMahon made Steve Austin the special guest referee. This match was shit. That's all I gotta say about it. Both men were on the way out. Goldberg was leaving WWE after this, and Brock was gonna go pursue a career in the NFL. But this match was the shit. Completely the shit. It was so bad. This match went on for 13 minutes and 43 seconds, to which people at MSG were pretending boring throughout the entire night, or throughout the entire match. But when the match was done, Steve Austin stunned both Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, and the crowd went happy, I guess, for that. So, again, I thought this match was shit. Walter, what was your take on this match overall?
God, this match.
Keep this in mind. I didn't say this earlier, but when I was young, I thought it was okay. When I was young, I look back on it and go, God damn, this match sucked. But now, Walter, your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. That's all this match was. But guess I'm not gonna harp too much on it because they kind of made it up 10 years later, 11 years later. I don't know how long. When was it? When did they wrestle? 33? Shit.
No, they wrestled at 33, yeah.
So, 13 years later. Shit, I was way off. 30 years later, they made it up in a shorter amount of time. Had a really good match. But we're talking about WrestleMania 20. So, this match sucked. And it's probably because, the fans really didn't give a fuck about them. So, even if they did try to put a better match, I mean, they're still getting booed. Stone Cold was the ref. I understand you wanted to get Stone Cold involved, which is fine, but clearly, he's gonna, his star power is gonna just completely distract from the actual match, and it didn't even matter because I don't know what they were doing. It's like they just came in, get a paycheck, it's our last match, and then they were out just like that after that. So, very awkward match, easily the worst match of the night. Because this was supposed to be a hype match. And when you don't deliver like that, then it deserves an F. Even with Stone Cold, trying to save it after doesn't mean shit. And it's very unfortunate. But they made it up years later, so I'm not going to shit on them completely.
Okay. Big Mike, what about you, brother?
Yeah, this match sucked. It was a certified F. This match was trash. Freaking 15 minutes of a tie-up, a collar and elbow tie-up was retarded. Freaking, even though this ain't about, the match, anybody remember when Lesnar was on Madden?
For like one game, right?
Yeah, it was 05.
Oh,
He was
fuck.
a 60.
Okay.
He was a 68 overall.
That's terrible.
Yeah, he sucked. That's and this match sucked along with it.
I don't think he did he even make it to the
No, he didn't.
the
He got
actual
cut the last day
roster
of
after
cutting.
preseason.
Yeah,
No,
he got cut on the last day.
I heard that apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently he F5'd someone during one of the games. Is that true?
What?
That's not true.
That's definitely not true.
We would have heard about that shit. That shit probably would have been on videotape.
Yeah.
But yeah. So this match was not good. The crowd didn't care. They didn't care. Steve Austin looked like he really didn't care neither.
Yeah.
He was just there to stunner people, drink beer, and leave. They just didn't care, and I skipped this match because why go through the pain and agony?
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And one more thing. Since we kind of, I think most of us have heard the Something to Wrestle With podcast on WrestleMania 20. How in the hell could he afford a plane at this time?
Hey, man, maybe he had, I don't know, bro. Good question. I think we'll never fucking know.
He had a personal plane. Like, how does that even... What was his salary back then?
Who are you talking about?
Lesnar. He had a personal plane. He didn't travel by car.
His salary is a lot. Fuck it. Salary is ridiculous now.
He must have been playing it like he got like $10 million.
So imagine how it was back then. I mean,
he must have been getting $5 million.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I was getting double that with less appearances. That's
Fuck.
He's living the life.
Fuck.
And he doesn't even live a crazy life. He just lives in a farm.
He lives on an off-the-grid farm in Canada.
And he's still getting paid like crazy. Like, what does he do with his money? That's what
he probably didn't even put it in a bank. He probably buries it in his backyard.
Got that shit saved. Yeah, that shit saved up in a fucking woodshed.
What is he saving it for? Hopefully for his kids.
Freaking kid look like him with a wig on.
Oh shit, bro! Come on.
I'm sorry. I had to say that shit. I don't care who I offend. Dad, I had to say that.
Oh damn!
But I hope he ain't near you.
I don't think. Where is he from? Saskatchewan, Canada.
Oh boy.
I don't know. He says he's from Canada now.
Yeah, that's like in the middle of Canada. I'm good.
Yeah. Anyway, let's continue on here, okay? Well, you gave your thoughts, right? Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. We then go from here to a clusterfuck of a match again. This match went about 6 minutes and 8 seconds. Is Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty defending the WWE Tag Team Championships, which is the SmackDown belts, versus the APA Bradshaw and Farouk, the Basham brothers Danny Basham and Doug Basham, the world's greatest tag team of Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. Ain't no stopping me, no. Again, like I said before, I'm not a fan of the multi-person match. Just like I wasn't big on the Cruiserweight Open match or the Raw Fatal 4-Way for the tag title. So this match to me was an AF match, again, just to get people on the card. And Rikishi and Sky Tuhati got the win, which I'm surprised, but hey, there's that. Walter, your thoughts on this match?
Oh, man. It's just like the Raw title match. Not a random-ass tag match. Basham brothers were coming up, I guess. World's Greatest Tag Team. I forgot they were in the match, believe it or not, for a few moments. And APA, nice to see them before they break up, right? So, I guess it was nice. Kinda. I feel like these were bathroom break matches, but the Raw Tag title match was so early, you can't really get a bathroom break out of that. This screamed nice bathroom break match. after that despicable match we had earlier, the match before. So it was just there. Another just there match.
Big Mike, your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, wasn't a fan of this match either. You know, I don't care about the Bashams. Pre JBL Bradshaw, his hair was slowly turning back to his original hair color from black, and he shortened it, which looked weird because he had his APA stuff on, and Ron Simmons' hair started receding. So yeah, it was there. I didn't care about this match neither. I didn't even know who was the champions. Who's the champions?
Rikishi, Scotty 2 Hotty.
Yeah, fuck them too. Who cares? This match, I didn't feel this match. They danced at the end too. And they danced at the end too, which was stupid.
Yeah, they had to make it up because the match was so fucking short.
That shit was played out after he went heel.
I think that was the end of the run for that tag team. And the run for the tag team of APA as well, and I guess World's Greatest Tag Team was just there.
I remember going to a Raw, well, my first Raw ever, months after this, and it was the draft, and they had a big brawl at the end, and Rikishi was just humongous, I thought. And also Edge returned that night too, so.
Did he really? Edge?
Yes. Yeah, that was the draft.
They had a video package of his return too.
Yeah, for the draft. Yeah, I remember the day after.
Yeah. I was at that show.
It's cool, bro.
That was my first.
Okay. Now let's move on here with this. We had the match between Victoria defending her women's championship versus Molly Holly. The stipulation was it was hair versus title, so if Molly Holly were to lose, she had to get her head shaved bald. Now, when I mean, again, let's get people on the card at any cost, this is what they meant. Apparently, Molly Holly was willing to do anything to get on this card, that she would put her own hair on the line, and she did. The match went about 6 minutes and 49 seconds. Victoria got the win, and in the process, Molly Holly had her head shaved bald. So for that, I got to take my hat off for Molly Holly, because, again, she did whatever it took to get on the show, and she did. And look what happened.
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
Is that really what happened? Like,
yeah. She wanted to be on the show that badly that she was willing to let her head get shaved bald by Victoria.
Wow. So there was no original match that was supposed to happen then?
No, she was not going to be on the show. And
neither was Victoria?
Maybe not. Maybe. Can you blame
there wasn't gonna be a women's title match?
Hey man, that's the first time, right?
That is true. That ain't the first time. But...
So there was that, and it's funny because Victoria's shaving Molly's head. At the time while she's doing this, they had the entrance for Kurt Angle's match versus Eddie Guerrero. So as Kurt Angle's coming out to the ring, Victoria's still shaving off Molly's head, which is funny as shit. But back to the hair versus hair match. Walter, your thoughts, and after we're gonna go with Mike.
Yeah, this match was just another dare match. And it's kind of weird that they had this, like, pretty, after the Cruiserweight title match, I guess, it was just like a slump. Like, the middle of the card, if you think about it, was just not the best, not the greatest. Like, you went from, that terrible Lesnar Goldberg match to this random tag title match, and you get this women's title match that just had a whole lot of nothing, kind of, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I guess the haircut just took longer than expected. The angle had to come out.
Yeah, freaking, that's foreshadowing like a mug, because he had to get his hair shaved too by Edge, wasn't it?
Yeah, back Judgment Day too.
Yeah, that was like, walk out there, but it's shaving her head. Well, you know what that feels like. Fuck y'all. I don't want to freaking go through that again.
The haircut took longer than the match, I think.
It did, and the match wasn't even all that.
Okay, so I think we can just move on to the big matches on the show. It's Eddie Guerrero defending the WWE title versus Kurt Angle. I did enjoy the build-up. I did enjoy it. It's over. Eddie, who overcame his demons and all that, now getting the opportunity to be WWE champion. Kurt Angle turned heel. He basically was doing it for America, if you will. And I thought the match overall was a very, very good match. It was about 21 minutes and 36 seconds. Just a back and forth. And again, it's amazing how these two guys also just had amazing chemistry in the ring. They really, really did. And what do you know? At the end, again, this Kurt Angle. Again, this was at a time where Kurt Angle was a fucking cyborg. Okay, this was at a time where Kurt Angle was a fucking wrecking machine. Right? Compared to the Angle that we're seeing now, god damn it, how time went by, right? Years went by. And I remember at the end, like, Angle's locking in the ankle lock. He's locking this shit in multiple times to the point where Eddie had to lace his boots and went in and basically tricked Angle into his, again, I guess, assuming that the boot, I guess he was hurt, and Angle went for the ankle lock, and the boot that Eddie untied, it slipped off the foot. Eddie just rolled up Angle for the 1, 2, 3, and Eddie retained the title. That was shocked me, honestly, looking back on it then, and I was a kid, that Eddie retained. But it made sense, though. I was happy for Eddie. Again, it's tough. We talk about it too, like, yo, the how this Mania ends up being a sad Mania. This is one of the reasons. You know what I mean? It'll happen years later, and I'll be real about it. When I watched this match, I started crying because you guys know Eddie was one of my favorites growing up as a kid, and yeah, it really just hit home with me. Walter, your thoughts on this match, bro?
Yes, this match was a really good WWE title match. You know, and just the way Eddie Guerrero, him and Kurt Angle, yeah, they definitely had some pretty good chemistry at first. It was, you know, mat-based, you know, Angle-style wrestling, and then, you know, they went through their traditional moves. And I think the sequence at the end was awesome. You know, Angle with the ankle lock, Eddie Guerrero, like you said, unlacing the shoe, and winning that in that fashion. The only way Eddie Guerrero, you would think of him winning. That was totally awesome. You know, I'm a little shocked too. I mean, back then you would think, I mean, that was probably a feel-good moment for Eddie Guerrero beating Lesnar on the way out. That he probably dropped the title here against Angle because it's Kurt Angle. You know, he was. Kurt Angle was Kurt Angle. He was great, and you would think that he'd win the title here, but no, they still stuck with Eddie, and I thought that was the appropriate move to do. And yeah, it makes me miss Eddie Guerrero, obviously, with stuff like that. So yeah. Wish obviously he could have lived a longer life, but it is what it is.
Big Mike, your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, man, great chemistry. Angle dominated the match early on. Love the over belly-to-belly suplexes. Freaking awesome. You know, I hate to see Angle look the way he looks today by looking at this match. It's so sad. And also Eddie Guerrero not being with us anymore. That makes me double sad. And the unlacing the boot on the second ankle lock to get the win with the roll-up pin. Great match. I will watch it again after we get off of here because it's a really good match. And you will never hear, you know, WWE, you know, have their commentators talking about people with addictions and stuff like that nowadays. That's really rare. So
yeah, it really, really is. It really is, Mike. But yeah, again, to me, it was a good match, but at the same time, it is sad. It really, really is sad. We then go from there to the co-main event. It's Kane versus the return of The Undertaker. With, oh yes, Paul Bearer. Again, this is Taker's return as the Dead Man character, no longer the American Badass. Remember, at Survivor Series 03, Kane buried alive The Undertaker to help Big Man get the win, and now Taker's back. And I gotta say this, overall, honestly, I thought the Druids, the entrances was great. the Druids. You saw like a guy backstage with the fire extinguisher trying to clear the fires on the floor. So that was very funny. But overall, I thought, honestly, looking back on it now, it just felt like a corny match. Am I in the minority here with that, or?
No, you're not. When I was a kid, man. You mean
when I was a kid, great. Taker's back, awesome. But it's like now,
right.
as I look back on, it's like,
dude, I used to love this match up until maybe 4 years ago. It's like, man, that was a good match. And then looking at it again, it's like, no, this is a lower scale Taker Kane match. I like their first match in '98.
But we had Taker now with mom hair. That soccer mom. Like, again, yeah, he's going back to the dead man, right? That dead man look. So he's growing his hair out. So the hair's not that long yet, but it's like, damn, bro.
I know a couple of people that like that look.
Nah, bro. Hell no.
That Taker look from 04, you know, when he was trying to grow his hair out again.
Look like a Butch Dyke, but that's around the corner.
It was a weird look initially, I guess, but it's Taker.
Yeah,
he could get away with stuff like that. The match itself, it wasn't anything exciting at all, especially if you weren't rewatching it. It's like, oh, cool. Like, at least there's a story to this. You know, Kane buried him alive when he was Badass Taker. And ever since then, he's been dead man ever since. So we thank Kane for that. But, I wish the match was something that meant a little more. But it wasn't.
Exactly. And then after this, we go to the main event. For the World Heavyweight title. Triple H defended the championship versus Shawn Michaels and Chris Benoit. Yes, I said his name. I had to. And again, it goes back to the Eddie match. Looking back on it when I was a kid, it was a great match. All you want. The story was between Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and then Benoit won the Rumble. He was able to choose what title he wanted to face. He chose Triple H, so it became a triple threat. It was a very good match. Don't get me wrong. Just a good back and forth. The story there. Hey, Benoit finally winning the big one. There was even a promo backstage early on in the night where Eddie and Benoit had that exchange, and I guess Eddie didn't believe that Benoit was going to win, and then Benoit had to motivate himself, and then Eddie, again, just used it to motivate Benoit. But, again, this match for what it was, like, yeah, it was a good match back then, and you had Michael bleeding like a fucking faucet. For whatever reasons. I think even Triple H. I think Triple H also was bleeding as well in this match.
Yeah, he was bleeding like stuck pigs.
Yeah, there's a moment, I guess, where Michael does like a moonsault outside of the ring. Just, again, your typical Triple H. And, again, as I said before, I'm not a fan of multi-person matches closing the show. And I'll make an exception with this. And I guess I'm about to make an exception with the women next week. But the point of the matter is, though, it was a fun match. It was a great match, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Probably it was obviously the longest match on the show. Went about 24 minutes, 51 seconds. Benoit finally beats Triple H. He locked in the crippler crossface. And again, he had the move locked in. Triple H made it to the rope. They rolled around. He had the lock back in the middle of the ring. And Triple H eventually tapped out. And with that, Benoit became the World Heavyweight Champion. He was celebrating. The confetti came down. Out came Eddie Guerrero, who was WWE Champion. And they both, closed the show celebrating in the ring. You have the WWE Champion Eddie Guerrero and the new World Heavyweight Champion Benoit to close the show celebrating. Again, two guys that came into WWE together, part of the Acolytes, and now here they are, right? After all the stuff they've been through, now they're both champions. And again, this is the sad part. Again, both guys are no longer with us, and what we knew later on, again, just makes it even more sadder for me. So when you look back at WrestleMania 20, again, there were some good matches here and there. Don't get me wrong. But some of the big stuff that you watch on this show, so it reminds you that it's a sad WrestleMania. Walter, your thoughts on the match overall?
Yes, this was it's conflicting. I'm not gonna lie, because it was a really good match. It was easily one of my favorite main events, technically, from a wrestling standpoint. I'm not a big fan of multi-man matches, but this one is like one of the few exceptions. It's like, wow, this 3-way match got me invested. It did. And, everyone's rooting for Benoit. He's the guy who needs to win the title. They were even booing Michaels at one point. That's how much they loved Benoit. So it's like, damn. And then the ending was perfect. The only sad part was that, stuff that really happened after this, years later. This would have been a nice ending with Guerrero and Benoit celebrating, best friends and all. But, it's just sad looking back at it still, and weird, and like you can't really embrace it as much now.
Big Mike, your thoughts, brother, overall on this match and looking back on it now, years later?
Yeah, really good match, really good back and forth, a lot of blood. I think Shawn Michaels did a lot of good selling in this match. Really good story with Benoit beating the odds, tapping out Triple H. I believe recently on WWE's IG, they were going through the top moments in WrestleMania history through every WrestleMania. They talked about this main event, but they didn't mention Benoit. They said it was Triple H versus Shawn Michaels.
They have to. The guy, you can't acknowledge the guy. I don't think, honestly, do I ever think that WWE will ever acknowledge Benoit again? I think it'll happen down the road. It just won't. Vince is not around.
No.
Or Triple H. I think it will happen again. But it has to be years from now. Years from now. But again, I could be wrong on that too. But again, it's like I said before, it's a sad mania. It really was, man. I'm sorry, but for me, it really was. Just the aftermath of this, though, okay? As we said before, again, Brock Lesnar went to the NFL. Goldberg, again, left. And basically that, there was that, right? At Backlash, the original main event between Benoit and Michaels was for the world title, but then Triple H appeared out of the picture, and I guess he was supposed to be drafted. He went drafted to SmackDown, then went back to Raw, so he became again a triple threat at Backlash, the rematch for the World Heavyweight title. The feud between Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle continued. However, Angle went into surgery on his neck shortly after WrestleMania. It was not scheduled to return to action for some time. To cover in the storyline, Angle was made the on-screen general manager of SmackDown after previous GM Paul Heyman was drafted off the brand and promptly quit rather than to work for his hated rival Bischoff. So basically, you had JBL who took over as Angle's replacement after all of this, and they had their feud, and we all know how that ended. You also had, I guess, Booker T and Brad Van Dam, I guess, going to SmackDown too. Remember that? He ordered SmackDown, and Booker T became a heel. Basically, what else happened here? Obviously, Orton and Mick Foley's feud continued. At Backlash, at Cactus Jack returned to face Randy Orton for the Intercontinental title in a no-holds-barred match, which the match that I always felt that made Randy Orton a man. The match that made him a man, in my opinion. I think we can all agree on that, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Who can't forget about that picture, freaking Randy Orton having Barbie ripped across his face?
Exactly. After WrestleMania, Kane and Undertaker went their separate way. Before the year was out, both men received shots at their respective brands' top championship. Kane faced Benoit Bad Blood for the World Heavyweight Championship, while Undertaker received a multiple shot at JBL for the WWE Championship. The last match came at Armageddon in December. Kane spent the rest of his time in a feud with Lita and Matt Hardy, which led to the debut of Gene Snitsky to feud with them. That's basically the top things that we've mentioned here. But again, WrestleMania 20, when you look back on it, also you had seen the feud with Rene Dupree leading up to that too. So there was that for the U.S. title. So again, WrestleMania 20, overall, they went back to Madison Square Garden. I thought it was right that they went back there. I thought overall, again, as far as a wrestling standpoint, it was good. But for me, and again, because the stuff that happened years later, it makes this a very sad WrestleMania, and at the same time, a WrestleMania that gets really blacklisted in WWE, in the history of WWE, in the history of WrestleMania. And WrestleMania, again, like Walter said, like you said off the, early on early on in the recording, it's a WrestleMania that doesn't get barely remembered. It barely gets remembered or barely talked about.
Yeah, it's the hidden WrestleMania.
Yeah, basically. The prohibited one, if you will. But we hope you guys enjoyed it, guys. Anything you guys want to say before we wrap this up regarding WrestleMania 20? Mike, I'll start with you.
I think reality hits you when you watch this WrestleMania. No matter if it's good or bad, but it's a great watch no matter what. If you have 4 hours and 30 minutes to spare, and just go back and watch it.
Yeah. Walter, what about you, brother?
Yeah, this Mania, like I said, I can't say it was bad. It wasn't the greatest either. I mean, you could easily skip kind of that middle of the cardish. I think besides Taker and Kane, like the world title match is delivered. I think that's key. And, the beginning of the show wasn't too bad either. Just a little too long for me, but then again, I can't really say that because shows nowadays are long as fuck. But, it's just a weird show to go back on. But
absolutely.
Technically, from a wrestling standpoint, it was a good show for the most part. Besides,
exactly.
A few matches.
Absolutely, guys. But this wraps up our retro recap, if you will, for WrestleMania 20. Guys, give me your thoughts in the comment threads of the YouTube video. Your thoughts on WrestleMania 20. Your thoughts on the show as a whole, all that stuff. And again, next week we're recapping WrestleMania 10 at the conclusion of a WrestleMania retro recap. We thank you all for listening. Guys are awesome as always. We'll be back tomorrow, Friday, for another installment of the Teamheel podcast. And so much to get into is that as well. Sunday we return back also with Around the Point. And after that, it's WrestleMania week. With that being said, guys, thank you all for tuning in tonight. You can follow me on Twitter at Teamheel Podcast. The podcast it is. Follow me on Twitter at HeelSteven. Follow the Teamheel Podcast on Twitter at Teamheel Podcast. Walter, where can they find you at, brother?
Yep, follow me on Twitter at HeyI'mWalter.
That's HeyI'mWalter. That's HeyI'm Walter. WALTER. Big Mike, where can they find the man with the golden charm, bruh?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at BigMike199519 and on YouTube at BigMike.
Say that again, bro. You audio kind of cut off there a little bit.
What, the whole thing?
Yeah, where can they follow you at? You already cut off a little bit there.
All right, you can follow me on Twitter at BigMike199519 and on YouTube at BigMike.
Fair enough, guys. Follow them there, guys. And as always, guys, again, thank you guys for listening. We'll be back this week for WrestleMania 10. And this has been another installment of Teamheel Podcast Extra.